These are some of the craziest upcoming zombies map leaks I have ever seen. Post-World War II New York where the Nazis dropped a nuclear bomb. Like stuff that is just, it's mind-blowing to even read. So today in this no-nonsense news update, we're going to cover all of this stuff and we're going to cover all the recent teasers that there have been and a bunch of other news as well. So let's start with the teasers because it's the most immediately relevant thing. They tweeted this out the other day saying, personal log, Edward Richtofen recording, #zombies, and we got our first in-game screenshot of the mansion. And it kind of looks like that one Black Ops 6 multiplayer map, right? Just a little bit. You've got a fountain out front because that just seems to be how these things go. Like from Verrückt onwards, we've had so many fountains in zombies. It seems to be a favorite. And my response to this was basically to say, hold on, does this mean that the map is launching at the start of season 3? Like, does this mean that we're getting an April 3rd release date? But to date, we have not yet had that confirmation. We then got this image, but I'm going to come back to this one in just a second because there's some really interesting details to pick out from this. But the next day we got this one, and this obviously shows the dinosaur that we saw in the Liberty Falls intro cutscene. Richtofen runs past it as he is going down to fight the Samantha AI that's broken free. Obviously in this screenshot, you can also see the new double tap machine, which looks awesome. And the caption says, I will lead this endeavor personally, enlisting only the trusted associates to ensure the program does not spiral out of control. Assuming that's Richtofen talking. Now, my response to this was to say, hold on, and let me see if I can show you this in the corner of the screen here. First of all, dinosaur boss, please. Like we all saw what happened with Citadel, seeing the golem in the promotional material. Wouldn't it make sense to have a dinosaur boss? Like reanimate that sucker, be a great boss fight. But then I thought, hold on, don't just reanimate it, but they could reanimate the T-Rex and then they could put Samantha's AI consciousness into the dinosaur. And then that could just be a continuous character that we get to interact with for the rest of the season. Like, can you imagine if the little pop-up on the side of the screen that you get with like Peck's face in it, talking over the intercom or Strauss talking to you? Imagine if it was just a dinosaur with a headset on looking at you like, I think that would be hilarious. Like, I need that to happen. So Treyarch, take the idea. It's right here. Do it. No balls. I also saw a couple of people saying, ooh, double staircase, Kino der Toten inspired. But I think that's just the biggest reach known to man. Like, buildings can have 2 staircases. It doesn't mean that they are Kino der Toten. In my view, at least. This also isn't a theater. Like, there's nothing about it that says Kino to me. But I have seen a few people say that on the timeline. And so I figured I would just mention that I don't think that's what's going on here. So back to this image, like I said, right? We've got this mysterious man in the middle of it, this bald chap here, wearing what looks like a hoodie with some kind of gold ornament on his chest. And when I first saw this, I was like, okay, this is interesting. It's ringing some bells, but admittedly, I don't know exactly which bells those are. Like, that's still not something I can quite work out until I saw this. Hybes did an amazing job here. Truly an amazing job, because Hybes managed to link this chap, who I think the community's kind of settled on being Josiah Shem, who we heard about in Liberty Falls Intel and stuff like that. He's a character that was sort of teased back there. Seems to be a guy that ran a cult at one point, and then the cult killed a load of kids. We'll get into that in some story content maybe another time. But that's who we're assuming this to be. But Josiah Shem here is dressed in these outfits from Black Ops 4 Zombies, and specifically from the Chaos storyline. So the sort of chest amulet brooch looking thing holding this kind of cowl hooded garment together is the exact same thing. Like, it is identical. And even the outfit itself, like the hood, exact same deal. So if we pull up Hybe's render here, he said, decided to do a quick render to test it. And yes, it's the exact same thing. Shows that they not only had the Chaos symbols on the sides of the thing, they also have this really interesting looking design on the brooch thing itself. And so if we go back to this one, are these going to be Chaos story symbols, or are they going to be the new sort of Dark Ether version of the symbols, or are they going to be something else entirely? Remains to be seen, but certainly interesting that that is coming back in such a not heavy-handed way, but on the nose way for sure. It's one of the few things that's happened in the story of Black Ops 6 Zombies so far that's made me sort of go, maybe I do want to sort of look up some old lore and try and connect some dots. Very quickly though, that feeling does go away for me, because I then realize, hold on, Treyarch are just retelling their own version of the Chaos story elements here. They're not actually lifting those elements and placing them in this universe as is. Like, they are reshaping all of that stuff. So just arbitrarily pulling from the past, I don't think is actually a valid thing to do. So the research thing kind of goes out the window, and it goes back to just, okay, well, there's gonna be some similarities between those things, but we'll have to wait and see when the map comes out how far those similarities actually go. One idea I had that I thought could be kind of cool is if we can use this kind of machine to basically animate this, and this can be an NPC. Like, he can talk to us as a painting, kind of like in Harry Potter. I just thought that would be a really cool kind of vibe for a map. It would be very unique. So fingers crossed that's what this device is set up to do. Hell, maybe he's even trapped in there and we have to free him. I mean, that would be a zombie's trope at this point, but again, I think that would be pretty cool. Maybe he put himself in the painting to immortalize himself. Like, maybe that's the vibe. Who knows? Next, I just saw this tweet. I thought this was really funny. Xbox has revealed an AI friend that can coach you to improve your skills and provide assistance on games. They're trying to put MrRoflWaffles out of a job. Listen, Stanley, don't you worry. AI will never be able to replace a solid hi guys. It'll never be able to do it. Not in a million years. We've got some very beautiful artwork that's been posted by Orlando Chen on ArtStation, which is concept art for Cold War Zombies maps. So this obviously is Firebase Z. Looks pretty similar to the map that we actually got. Like, the concept really turned into reality there. And here's another one that I thought was really cool for Mauer. There's another Mauer one that's basically exactly what the map looks like. And again, same deal. So they've done very well here. Here's one for Firebase. And there's another one here. And I guess that's for the inside of the bubble on Firebase. That's what I'm assuming that is. So yeah, figured I'd throw that out there. The Orlando Chen's work here is pretty sick. I'm a fan. Now, speaking of Xbox-related news, this post by Cami here is pretty interesting. Xbox and Asus are reportedly teaming up on an Xbox-branded handheld likely to release later this year. And this is interesting because we just saw those leaks fairly recently about COD 2026 being developed on Xbox dev kits right now, which would mean that there's going to be an Xbox console refresh in 2026, which would be really exciting because that's a year away to a new Xbox in theory. Whether or not that's true remains to be seen, but that's the story at least so far. But the fact that they're also working on another console like this is pretty neat. And I'm curious, do any of you guys have any handheld consoles like this? Do you have a Steam Deck or anything along those lines? A ROG Ally, all those sorts of stuff? If so, let me know. Like, are they worth picking up? Should I do a video on one of them one day, like testing them out or something? Keep me posted. Now, my segue to talking about 2026 related things is nearly finished, but just one last bit of news here to add in before we get back to that crazy nuked New York zombies map story. We've got a message from the CEO of Spectre Divide about the future of Spectre Divide and Mountaintop Studios, and basically it's getting cancelled, which is kind of crazy because they had, I think, $80 million of investment and they're shutting down. It's pretty tragic. Like, it just goes to show, I think, the sort of state of the games industry, honestly, at this point. It's extremely difficult to penetrate the industry with anything sort of fresh and new and exciting, even if you've got really strong marketing partners. Like, this is the game that Shroud was promoting a ton, and people were kind of calling it Shroud's game. I don't think it was like his game. I think it was the studio's game, as far as I can tell, at least. I don't really know, but he was promoting it a huge amount. Maybe he had equity or something, I don't know. But even with a marketing partner like that, you're not just guaranteed a shoe-in to being successful in the industry. And it's rough. It's a rough time out here. So rest in peace, Spectre Divide. May your death be something that other studios can at least learn from and find ways to find more kind of promising paths into the industry. I'm hopeful. But yeah, very sad stuff. So let's talk about this exclusive. It's from Insider Gaming, and it says, first of all, Call of Duty 2025 is going to have 6 fully fledged round-based zombies maps, which would be crazy. That would be a zombies map per season. It's from Big Tom Henderson, the one and only. And if we go through some of this news here, just zooming in so that you guys can see it nicely, Tom says that COD 2025, wait, 2025? Bro, for some reason I read this as COD 2026. I thought this was about next year's COD. This is this year's COD. Oh, okay. 6 fully fledged round-based zombies maps throughout the game's life cycle. And presumably that would mean in addition to launch maps, right? This is life cycle specific. So this basically means that these are the live service maps. So 1 per season. Insider Gaming has learned that COD 2025, which will be led by Treyarch, could have a total of 6 round-based zombies maps during the game's life cycle. Details of what COD 2025 is shaping up to be is already an open secret, including that the game is a Black Ops 2 sequel and the original Zombies crew is likely making a return. I've reported on this already in other no-nonsense news videos. If you missed that, that maybe means that you're not subscribed, so hit the sub button so you don't miss that in the future. But in the map's early development, it's understood that the plan for Zombies was to build the maps from the ground up to allow them to be played in different game modes, including traditional round-based, Grief, and Outbreak? Wait, what? This is insane because the original leaks for this game were saying that we were going to get Outbreak only for the year and that we would then also be able to play the Black Ops 6 zombies maps in Black Ops 7, like as round-based maps. So we'd have those maps carry over and then we'd have new Outbreak content, right? Those were the original leaks. And so to have gone from that to having now fully fledged Outbreak maps, presumably, that can be split up into individual sort of town-like experiences, maybe, or bigger than town. Like, maybe imagine Transit, but it connects to another 4 maps, and that's the Outbreak experience. But then those 4 maps are individual maps as well, or something? Like, it's kind of hard to know exactly what they're meaning here, but the idea that we'd be able to play Grief suggests to me that there are bus depot-sized survival maps that are their own sort of individual fragments. Then there are map-sized fragments, and then there's the Outbreak-sized sort of whole, right? That's the only way that I can imagine all 3 of these different game modes all being able to be played on the same space, which would be crazy. It goes on to say, it's understood that Treyarch was playing around with more out there settings this time around, including a map set in post-World War II New York where the Nazis dropped a nuclear bomb, with another map being described as being set in a Japanese temple at the foot of an erupting volcano. Well, this is peak. This is peak. These are some of the best map ideas I've heard in years. Other ideas included a map set in Vietnam. All right, well, Firebase Z called it. It wants its idea back. One in Afghanistan, and another out there idea being one set in a space station in the dark ether. Bro, can you imagine how sick that would be? Dude, if they can start going back to map-specific features that feel really tied to that map alone, like how on Moon, we literally have low gravity, right? That is a thing on Moon. If they can go back to those sorts of things and bring those in to be different flavors for different maps, it's going to help break things up so much. Because one of the problems, I think, with Black Ops 6 is that the maps all feel a bit homogenous. They all feel kind of samey because it's just the same deal of you get in the map, you shoot some zombies, and then you leave. But it's not like, oh, this is the map where you turn into the beast and you use your squid arms to do a lot of steps in the Easter egg. Like, there isn't anything like that right now. There is no Moon low gravity. But if they can start introducing that with a map set in a space station in the dark ether, then I'm on board. As already leaked from a feedback session, it's also understood that COD 2025 Zombies will have one of its biggest maps to date and have a similar transportation system to Transit. So wait, that's in addition? Oh my god, it's unclear if Treyarch went with every idea, but we'd expect at least a few to make it to the final game. What do you think of the map idea? I mean, what do I think of the map ideas? I think these are amazing. I think this is peak, and I think that we need this desperately for zombies to feel fresh 2 years in a row. Like, please, Treyarch, I am begging you. All of these ideas sound sick to me. Everything here. The idea of more round-based, while also getting Outbreak, while also getting things like Grief, and the core premises of the maps themselves are so much more interesting than we've seen in so long. It's a no-brainer. And Premise coming back? I mean, the Premise thing is contentious, but again, we've talked about that in other videos. It could be an insane year. It could be an insane year. So, I don't know about you guys, but I think you'd better be subscribed so you don't miss all this content when it eventually comes out. And I will obviously keep you guys posted as well if there's more no-nonsense news to report in the future. And there certainly will be for the upcoming Zombies map coming out in a couple of weeks here. So, hit that sub button and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.